Yes, hello and welcome to A Celtic World, the YouTube channel and podcast made by Celtic fans all over the world, just for you. And we've had some technical difficulties, apologise for being a couple of minutes tardy. But such is the way, nothing is running smoothly in the world of Celtic. So thankfully we can throw it up into three smooth characters to help ease the creases. Stephen in Sydney, g'day. Stephen in Sydney, g'day. Is anybody else hearing me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Dear.
Morning, Gav. Morning, Stephen. Morning, David.
Sorry, I think I might have dropped out for a second there. Sorry. Hi, Gav.
Hopefully
How
you'll
are you
stay
doing?
with us. Hello.
And what about the hearing? Wow, wow.
I'm sure got that.
You were in the
serious
Speedos.
faces.
You were
Even
in
the
the
jokes
Speedos
aren't
again.
working, Brian.
They are
Nothing's
working.
working.
You are working. Stephen's on the Speedos again, aren't you?
I've got my Speedos on.
Yeah.
You'll find out if I stand up, which I'm going to try not to do.
Right. Well, look. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone in the chat. Please let us know if anyone's volumes need adjusting vis-a-vis each other. I think mine should be okay. Yeah. I'm sometimes just too loud. That's what my wife says anyway. Hello, David. Didn't hear your voice there in the intros.
Yep, still here. Hello, folks. Try and put a smile on the shit show that was yesterday. But looking forward to anything but a shit show for the next hour. Hello, folks.
All righty then. So, what are we going to be talking about? Well, I mean, we all know, don't we? Testing times for Tims is the expression I elected to put on the thumbnail. There you can see the victorious St Mirren players in the background lifting the cup, ticker tape and all the rest of it, or whatever you call that stuff, confetti. What is that? Whatever that stuff is. And various images of our leader, because he is a leader, not just a coach, he is a leader, and in various states of dismay, which is a good way of describing how the Celtic fans are. So before we get into the game and everything around the game, overarching viewpoints, not too long, just tell us where you're at, Stephen.
Fairly depressed, to be honest. I don't think things have been as bad as this for many, many years. And I think that one of the biggest difficulties is it's difficult to see a way out of this. So I'll leave it there for now.
Difficult to see a way out. Well, let's see if we can sort of broach that subject later. We'll go to David next and save Brian till the last.
Yeah,
David?
I guess feeling in trepidation. I think Dundee United at Tannadice is coming a few days too early for me. I mean, just what's happened. The wheels completely came off the bus last three games. Talking about Roma being a sort of free hit, and it clearly wasn't. To go from Martin O'Neill winning, 7 out of 8 or 6 out of 7 to nothing out of 3, losing the first leg of the treble. It's hard to be too happy today.
But over to Brian to cheer us all up by him telling us how happy he is.
No, the experiment has failed and he has to go, end off. Things in life don't work for whatever reason. There's external factors and there's internal factors. He's wanting to come in and revolutionize the club, whereas we need somebody to put their... And I know the players, I know everyone's saying about the players are rubbish or this, that and the other, but their players are in a fragile state. It hasn't worked. And have the courage or conviction to stand up and try and rescue the season, try and rescue the next 5 years. Somebody from within the club needs to come out and say, yep, sorry, the ball's up here. And the only positive thing is Nicky Hyen got sacked a couple of weeks ago. But I don't see any way out of this for Nancy. Dundee United away, and then Aberdeen at home, Livy away, and then the Huns. What we do? Do we hit the word at 12 points behind? It's not worked for whatever reason. I couldn't care about the game on Thursday night, and I'll not be watching it. I couldn't believe it yesterday when I was watching the game, was all set, ready to go with a 10 of draft Guinness about to be opened. And then I went, no, maybe I'll not bother. Went out, made myself a cup of tea, come back when we're 1-0 down. No, done with it. Just too many things working against him. Things like he said, I'm a coach, not a manager. And he came out with a statement, something along the lines of, I'm not here to keep the fans happy, I'm here to coach the team. We need a man who can, I don't know who he is. But we needed somebody who's going to be a manager, who's going to be the front face of Celtic, who's going to represent the club, represent the fans. And I would get
wonder who that could be, Brian.
I don't think Martin would touch it with a barge pole, and I wouldn't blame the man.
It's quite a funny picture, though, isn't it?
It is indeed. AI is a wonderful thing. I wish we could get an AI system. Excuse my French, how we can play. But he's putting round holes and square pegs, and he's doing everything arse about face. No one likes him.
Well, if he's putting round holes and square pegs, he's definitely doing things arse about face.
Well, that's it, yeah. Like myself, but it's just not working. And the senior pros, didn't work out.
All right. Well, we're going to get into the game in a second. I was just going to share this one thing that came up, which is a little moment of levity in an otherwise dreary occasion. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Doing the rounds on social media. I mean, whoever put that up must have known. Huh?
They'll never keep us out. They can ban the Green Brigade. They can ban the boys. They can ban fan media from press conferences, but they'll never keep us out the ground. They will always find a way to get the message across, and they would do well to remember that. I agree with Brian. Almost everything Brian said there, but the only issue is the board. That the responsibility for this mess lies squarely with them. And the question is, do you want to entrust them to find another manager when they've just ballsed up so badly in appointing this one? So I guess that's the question, and maybe something we'll discuss at a bit more length.
Okay. Well, let's get into the game first, and then we'll talk later about the general situ. I'm sure that'll keep coming up throughout, actually. But anyway, David, what were your reactions when you saw the starting 11?
Yeah, well, first of all, going back to the happy birthday thing, you imagine the stick that poor guy got at school, but at least fair play, he's got his 15 seconds of fame, at Celtic Park. So good luck to him. Happy birthday, Zach, from all of us. So actually, when I saw the starting 11, I thought that he had sort of succumbed to the peer pressure and gone back to the format that we had that was working perfectly well under Martin O'Neill. But sadly, it was clear quite early on that they decided that Ralston was the one that was being entrusted with being our sort of right centre of the three. And as soon as I saw Ralston, I must admit, I had the fear. And then when you looked at Tunekte, who seems to be undroppable just now, it filled me with absolutely no confidence at all.
Well, I'm sure your confidence was dented. All of our confidence was dented indeed in the second minute, Stephen, when this happened. Now, talk us through this.
Well, two things jump out straight away. One is it's the third game in a row we've lost a goal from a corner. And that's after, I think, going almost the whole of Martin O'Neill's time at the club, the whole 6 weeks or something, or whatever it was, without losing a goal from a corner. We've now lost one in each of the last 3 games. The other thing that springs out from this to me is, why is Rio Hatate marking one of their centre-halves? Mm-hmm. when you're defending a corner, the centre halves are the biggest targets in the box. And I know St Mirren have got quite a few big players that need to be picked up, but Rio Hatate is one of the smallest players in our team. Why on earth has anybody thought it was a good idea for him to pick up Marcus Fraser, who's a centre half and quite a physical player as well? So he's basically just brushed Hatate off the ball, give him a little nudge. He's not strong enough. And he's headed it into the corner of the net. So we're all over the place at corners. We saw that in the Roma game when Liam Scales got caught wrong side and ends up scoring an own goal. And again here, where you've got one of the smallest players in your team marking one of the strongest players in their team. So an absolute mess.
Where are our two central defenders there, Brian?
There's Trusty. Is that Trusty far left in front of Scales? Okay,
Yeah.
So he should be in where Hatate is. Liam Scales is playing almost like a right winger. Well, he's not a right winger, but what's he doing out there? Ralston, at least Ralston's sort of semi in position. Cal's in there. Is that Iheanacho at the back?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just,
you'll notice just at the top left of the picture there, you'll notice our great friend of the show, Liam Scales, who looks like an interested observer in proceedings, and he's not marking anyone. So he's one of our centre halves who should be picking up.
Literally not marking anyone. Yeah.
He's not marking anyone. He's just he's a spectator, and who he was supposed to be picking up, I've no idea. You can say at least Trusty's tight in his man, and I can't find anybody else who looks as if they've got a good position to mark the player and block the runs. Where's Engels? Engels is another one who's 6 foot plus. Why is he not in there marking?
Yeah.
But he's another one. It's not really doing anything.
There's three of them around one player there.
Yeah. So it's an absolute shambles, and so it talks to exactly where we are. And there's no really any excuse for it.
Good header though, right in the corner, completely unsavable, you would have to say. I mean, it hit off the inside of the post and went in. So that wasn't good. Here we have 9 minutes. Scales crosses the ball. Iheanacho header. It was described by the commentary team as a great header, but pretty savable location, really, you would have to say, David.
I actually would give him credit. I thought it was a good header. You can see from the still that you've put there that it's at a savable height. But he's hit it from about 4 or 5 yards out. So I think the goalkeeper, to be fair, played well for them. He made a couple of good saves, but I thought that was one. I guess we'll come on to Iheanacho later on, but certainly when he went off, that was kind of as good as it got, really. I thought it was a good save, really good save.
Yes, Bob, it is a good save. My point is, the first one, by contrast, was unsavable. It was right in the corner. There's nothing you could do about it. Came off the inside of the post. Whereas this is, a couple of feet from the post, or a foot and a half maybe, or whatever that is. So keeper did well to save it, but unfortunately it wasn't quite up to it. As was this finish. St Mirren chance on 14 minutes. Thank goodness this went wide, Brian.
Yeah, I was watching from behind the city again. So I'll be honest with you, I didn't. There were that many things going on, but again, it could have been 2-0. Maybe a lot of winning would have saved my Sunday. I just turned it off, but
thankfully. And then this is another chance now. 16 minutes. Iheanacho. Yeah, he goes up for this. The keeper's coming out, and Peter Grant says he sort of failed to really go for this, Stephen. Do you agree with that? Do you think he didn't quite give it everything he's got?
Nah, I don't think. I think that's a bit harsh. He's done well to get up. He's got up above his marker again, which he did for the previous chance as well. And I think he's just directed it wrongly. The keeper's, in his eye line, so that's going to put him off. And I think he just got it wrong. He just didn't get over it enough. and he's missed the target. So I think Iheanacho showed enough in the time he was on the pitch to suggest that he's probably the only thing resembling a striker that we have in the squad, and now he's injured again. So God knows where that leaves us. But yeah, I think he was quite unlucky there.
Yeah. And here's another incident involving him. Scales crosses it, and both Iheanacho and Maeda go for it at the same time. You know, it's not easy to cast your mind back, but apart from the goal that they scored on 2 minutes, there was a lot of attacking play by Celtic in that first half. And this period here, you were kind of, well, I don't know about you, but I was, you know, roaring them on and enjoying the attacks and hoping that, you know, that we were going to nail one for too long. And here was another one. Lovely ball from Scales. Slides it through to the on-running Maeda, who crosses it across goal. And Hatate doesn't quite get a touch on this. David, did you have Peter Grant on comms when you were watching the game?
No, we had on whatever it was, Premier Sports or whatever one it was. But
Because he was complaining that Hatate didn't bust a gut to get to that one, and he should have.
yeah, sounds like he was doing a lot of complaining. Peter the Pointer Shocker. No, I wouldn't have. I thought Hatate was playing really well in the first half. I think for the first sort of half hour after we conceded a goal, I thought we were playing well, created a lot of chances. When we scored, I thought probably we'd go ahead and win it. My mum puts £5 bet on the 3 S's every week: Celtic, City, and Sunderland. And my sister phoned me at half time to say should she cash out 25 quid instead of getting 48 for and I was like, no, Celtic's going to run away with this. You know, what little did I know. So that's me off my mum's Christmas list.
All right. So that was another chance that went to beg, and same old story. Can't finish anything. Amazing hold-up play here from Iheanacho. Great strength he showed to hold this fella off and to slide Maeda in, who was then fouled. Now, Stephen, back to what you were saying. Iheanacho gave us so much in the time he was on the pitch, didn't he? In terms of being the man that the ball sticks to and bringing others into play and looking like a striker, as you say. He's got that experience. He's a leader up front. He looks like a leader on the pitch. I mean, what sort of state are we in that we're saying that Iheanacho looks like our leader on the pitch?
Well, he knows the position and he knows how to play centre forward, which is more than can be said for anyone else in the team. Watching the Roma game during the week, it was quite obvious there that was where we were struggling. The ball was coming out and it was bouncing off Maeda, and we were losing possession. But you know, Iheanacho showed really well there that he's able to take the ball in, he's able to use his body well, and he's able to bring other players into it. But the problem with Iheanacho is he's not really played any amount of games for the last 3 years. So asking him to play, you know, I don't know, 40, 50 games a season, which we need, it's never going to happen. He's going to get injuries until he can build up a level of match fitness, and that's another. It looks as if it's his hamstring again, so it's another repeat hamstring injury, off the back of losing Alistair Johnson, for the same thing, the same repeat hamstring injury. And we're up shit creek now because, as we've all been saying, you know, we don't have anyone else. Johnny Kerry was just utterly appalling when he came on. And you know, he just quite simply shouldn't be in a Celtic jersey. So who else do we put? Maeda back through the middle again, and just in this system, he's asked to play as a hold-up striker, which he isn't. And I just don't know where we go from here. If Iheanacho's out, you know, if he has to have surgery, the same as Alistair Johnson, and ends up missing a pile of games or a few months, yeah, we're in all sorts of bother.
Well, let's focus on the positives. Wave after wave of Celtic attack in this first half, in case we forgot it. Here's another one, which of course yielded the goal. Bryant, ball from KT to the back stick, and Hatate makes up loads of ground to get in there. And a lovely finish, you have to say.
Yeah, it's like Tierney's the only one who seems to have started playing for Nancy. He's the only one that's improved. Every other player has regressed. Yeah, good to get the goal, and I thought whenever the goal went in, that it's just a matter of time. We'll get a second and put it to bed. But there's just that much. There's a catalogue of individual and tactical errors across the pitch, but I thought the COVID season and all its, but when you look at the game, getting a bowling goalie going on the lash, chasing some chick in Spain, the whole us getting barred from playing. This season, I've written down a few things here. This season potentially can out-trump or outdo the COVID season for amount of individual mistakes, stroke areas that, if you had one of these a season, you would be in you'd be worrying. But the fact that we've had a catalogue of just poor decision making, poor communication. I mean, if I can speak for 1 second while it's in my head, transfer window, complete balls up, getting knocked out of Kairat Almaty, not having a shot on target, drawn 0-0 with the Huns, ending up in the transfer window with no striker, get Ian Acho in, we get Chin 2-0 by Hearts, Rogers resigns, Desmond's letter, Martin comes in, then the AGM, then the fallout with the Green Brigade, and then I'm just going to put Nancy as one area, and just this season is it just needs the end. It just needs to get everyone together and try. It's never going to happen, There's no. I can't see a way out of it. I would actually take Jim Goodwin as a manager now, as caretaker manager, and that's how low the bar has dropped. I just need
Brianism.
No.
Jim Goodwin in the hot seat.
Anybody? Somebody that can play a right back. Yang is not a left back. Is not a left wing back or a right wing back or any of that. Somebody to play the players.
Carry on this sort of chat after we get through the events of the game. So we're still only on 23 minutes of the first half, and things are looking good here. It's 1-1. We're attacking quite a lot. Cal Mack wins the ball in midfield here off Gogic. And it ends up... Oh, what happened there? Did it end up with him getting a shot? He gets a shot. The keeper parries it. Oh, that was the second one. Ian Acho gets the ball, does the right thing, gives it to Cal Mack. He takes the shot, which gets parried by the goalkeeper, unfortunately. And then 24 minutes, Tonekti beats his man, gets to the byline, David, which we always complain he doesn't do. Cuts it back, and there was a bit of a mix-up between the defender and the keeper, and it trundles a little bit wide. Now, at this stage of the game, are you not feeling positive, David?
I mean, to be fair, Gav, that didn't trundle wide. That was a really, really good save by the goalkeeper. It kind of came at him where he had to, his reflexes were excellent. At that one, I think it came off the defender quite sort of rate of knots. And I thought the goalkeeper did really well to keep that one out. But yeah, for sure, as I say, for about 25 minutes, we created a lot of chances. The previous still that you showed, with what's his name, the one Ian Acho, he was holding the ball up. He was able to control the ball. And I think, I know that sounds a kind of basic element of a professional footballer, but I mean, at some point, I guess you're going to show the Ralston hoof, thing in the second half. I mean, we had no players that were capable of controlling the ball and doing like a 5-yard pass in the second half. I mean, it was just watching two different teams. First 25 minutes, apart from the first 2 minutes, we were creating a lot of chances, passing well, being attacking, aggressive. And the second half is the worst I've seen us
Well, we haven't got to the second half yet. 32 minutes. I've entitled this picture "Where We Lost the Game," Stephen.
I think that's probably a fair comment, because we never looked back from there. I'm not too sure if the way the game panned out wasn't too dissimilar to many games this season, though, where we have had spells in the first half, especially where we look as if we're able to create chances, just don't score them, and then the second half turns into a complete shit show. I think the game at Tynecastle was one example of that, and the other Hearts game at Celtic Park. I think the first half of that game, I think we all thought we were going to run away with it, but we just didn't get the ball in the net. So I think that's been a common problem for us. But with the way Iheanacho was playing and the drop off after he went off, I think it's probably a fair comment to say that was the turning point in the match.
Yeah, it really was. Without him, it was we just lost all sort of cohesion up there. That was the last event of the first half, and then we go into the second half. First thing that happens is Gogic nearly connects from a wrongly awarded free kick. Brian, if we can stick to the football for now. Well, lucky this one didn't go in.
Yeah, Gogic actually a really good game, and yeah, I don't really know what to say.
Okay, well, I'll give you the next one then. Oh, this is for Stephen. I've entitled this picture "A McCutcheon Moment," because you know what happened.
No, I actually don't recall this one, Gav. You'll need to refresh my memory. It was early in the morning.
This is your friend Liam Scales with the head hanging low because the ball is here.
Yeah. That's the one. It was a very, very simple pass to slide it into, I think, who was that? Was it Tierney, I think?
KT.
And he just absolutely overhit it by a lot. And it wasn't even close to being what was required. So, I mean, Liam Scales had a game for the ages, but not in the correct sense. It was just dreadful, and almost everything he did. His defending was just brutal. His attacking play was just brutal, and he had a hand. I think at least a couple of the goals he was culpable. And I think all his frailties and all his deficiencies were up in bright lights for everybody to see. So very, very poor from Scales, and this was a great example of the kind of game he had.
54 minutes, keeper deals with an Engels corner. David, talk to us about set pieces. Why are we so bad at executing them and defending against them?
Yeah, I saw somewhere earlier on today that when we seem to sort of attack corners, we're more kind of jumping from a standing start. If you look at the St Mirren goal, they seem to come from the 18-yard line and then sort of always sort of charging in, getting momentum, being able to get a bigger leap. But a few times yesterday, certainly Scales, Trusty, they just seem to be just jumping up from where they were standing. It also helps if you've got someone that can cross the ball. I know we've got lots of fans of Engels on this board, but I mean, he was another one who had a shocker yesterday. But if you're not able to do that actual, the hitting the ball into the right area, but you're always going to struggle.
Indeedy. Brian, then this happened. 63 minutes, Gogic with a simple lift of the ball into the box. And what happens? Well, Schmeichel comes out. Does he make an arse of it, Brian?
I don't even remember this, Gav. That was their goal.
This is a goal, yeah.
Yeah. Was that?
Yeah,
Thanks, Stephen.
I'll take this one. So yes is the answer. He did make an arse of it, and I think this was probably the first blatant example of Kasper Schmeichel showing his age, because he just took an extra half a second to make the decision to come out for the ball, and by that time it was too late. But I'll just draw your attention to just in front of Schmeichel there. You'll see Liam Scales again, marking no one again, just looking like a very interested spectator in the whole thing. So I think Schmeichel felt as if he had to come out because the guy was unmarked, and probably would have scored anyway, even if Schmeichel had stayed in his line. But it certainly was a mistake to come out, and he never got anywhere near the ball.
Yeah,
but surely,
I mean,
is it not?
go ahead.
They're being coached. Sorry, they're being coached. Like Scales, for all his faults, is probably told to be in those, but they're probably coached to be in those positions, as is Schmeichel. You know, so the blame lies with the manager, because he's putting the team on the pitch and is coaching them to be zonal and be in certain positions at corners and set pieces and all the rest of it. So he can, like, why the hell is Scales so out of position? I mean, he wasn't out of position under Martin O'Neill. So he's out of position because he's being coached to be something that he's not.
Mm-hmm.
Some sort of playmaker, some sort of libero.
We don't know, really. We don't know what.
I think that's the crux of the issue, O'Brien, isn't it? He's been asked to play in an entirely new system that he's never played, probably in his life, and he's been asked to fulfil a different role. And he's probably spent a total of maybe 4 or 5 days on the training ground since Nancy arrived, given the amount of games we're playing. So it's no surprise, really, that they're all over the place at the back. And it's just done the right. And you're absolutely correct. The manager's to blame for that, for trying to implement a brand new system so quickly. And nobody seems to know where they are or where they're meant to be. And also throw into that the fact that he's changing personnel left, right, and centre. Ralston's next cab off the rank today for the right centre half position. So again, Scales and Trusty have got a different partner in the other side of them. So nobody knows where they're meant to be, and you can see that everybody's looking at one another with a bemused look in their faces, and it's just absolute shit. Defensively, we're just in absolute shambles at the moment.
And this is their third goal, the start of it, anyway. This is the ball that sets up the attack. Comes back to this guy, and he just lifts one up and over Donovan, and they're in behind. The guy runs on, does really well, sort of cuts back, sends the two defenders on a wee journey there, and then just squares it to your man there who finishes it. Schmeichel can't keep it out. David, pointing your fingers at anyone in particular on this goal, or just everyone involved?
For me, the manager has to take the rap. I can understand if it was leaving one man sat at the back and we're all out to try and get an equaliser or get back in the game when there's 2 minutes to go. But this was 20 minutes to go. 20 minutes to go. Keep your shape. There was no excuse for a basic hoof up the park to have us, sort of as if it was a wonder pass by Messi. It was a basic, hoof up the park, and it was just, there was no one back. So again, for me, the manager has to take a lot of blame there. It's just nonsense that we got ourselves into their situation. Their guy held the ball up well and then passed it across. I think the previous still that you put up shows Scales making some effort to sort of get back, but being nowhere near it again. Yeah. We could. I was
going to make that point, David. Liam Scales was a disgrace at that goal. He's actually jogging back into position when that's still. If you might put that one back up, Gav,
this one?
Just that one there, yeah, that one, yeah. See where Scales is there, just to the far right of that picture. Mm-hmm. Now he's just jogged back into that position. If he'd bust a gut to get himself between Declan John and the goal scorer, then he can cut off that pass, and Declan John then has to make a decision to either lay it off to the guy behind him who's got a far more difficult shot, or try a shot himself when he's got two defenders in front of him. But Scales makes it easy for him. look at all that space he's got to put it into, and that's exactly because Scales didn't carry on, didn't bust a gut, and didn't get back in position. So for me, there was a few people at fault. Donovan's too far up the park, but he is playing wing back, so you can always forgive him for that. The coverage at the back was poor. There was two players. I think it was McGregor and Trusty went to the same player and left the man behind him, and Scales just didn't bother his arse sprinting back in to cover it. So plenty of blame to go around there, and that was pretty much the final nail in the coffin.
Well, it was, but then St Mirren kept playing with a greater sense of urgency than we did, despite being 3-1 up. 88 minutes this is. And this guy ran through and got a shot away, which Michael saved. That's a little clip that sums up how we all feel. I think you'll agree. Did you see that on the coverage?
Yeah, I did, yeah. I felt sure that one will be being
have you got a clip of
the message boards.
Have you got a clip of the Schmeichel, whether he was fouled or not? The one with about 5 minutes to go.
Oh no, I didn't bother saving that.
I mean, for me, we were so lucky not to concede that would have been, Keystone Cops level of defending if that one had gone in.
We pretty much gave the game to St Mirren. St Mirren were always going to play the way they were going to play, and we opened the door for them to take the cup. That was our cup. We pretty much handed it over to them, and good luck to them. No offense, that balloon has won a cup.
Well, fair play to him.
No, fair play to him. No, he has.
I don't think he's a balloon at all. I think he's a good wee manager. Does his best.
I think he's a balloon and he's a dirty wee hun bastard. So
exactly.
So he can get all the way to fuck, and then keep on going after that. For me, I wish nothing but spiky jobbies for that man. He's a complaining wee dickhead hun. So let's be clear about that. I've seen a bit of this crap today from Celtic fans. St Mirren, fair play to them. Fuck them.
Fuck them.
Absolutely
right.
fuck them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would give them nothing. And that wee dick in particular. So there you are.
Uh-huh. Well, fair play to St Mirren and congratulations to Stephen Robinson. Commiserations to this man.
Fuck you as well, Gavin.
Very good. And there's our boy, not looking too pleased. And there's a picture, I'm sure, that'll warm the cockles of Stephen's heart. Huh? You don't want to give them their due?
Nah.
Anyway, you're making people feel a bit better there, Stephen.
If you want balanced, objective comment, then I'm afraid you've came to the wrong place.
Yep.
Oh dear, times we have. I'll have to clip that up, Stephen, as one of the highlights of the show. You saying that. All right. Well, do we want to look at any stats? Is that going to improve anyone's humour? 73.7% possession. More shots on target. More shots, fewer on target. 7 corners.
That'll be heavily weighted by the first half. I think if you looked at the second half stats, it would be an entirely different picture, I think.
Well, we'll leave those stats for the tactical review boys to go through later on today as they pick the game apart. What we can do is look at player ratings from that esteemed publication, David, the Daily Mail. I'm sure you're a regular reader.
Thank you very much.
Do you want to go through any of these and argue with them? Or?
Not sure what I've done to upset you today, but no, I think I can see. Is there anyone's got a pass mark? I mean, Iheanacho when he was on, Maeda did nothing to deserve a 6. I think Tierney, at least was trying. I think the Tierney substitution was sort of microcosm of the game. Just that he's how difficult can it be to substitute somebody? It was just utter Mickey Mouse from start to finish. So no, none of them get a pass mark. Possibly Tierney, but Iheanacho changes the game. But there are some there like Ralston, Tunekti. I mean, if he's not got one, Kenny was embarrassingly bad, I have to say. But yeah, I think the Daily Mail for once has been quite decent.
We're better than that, Stephen. Better than that.
Well, not.
You're not.
Well, okay. I'm not. I'll take that one.
You're not alone, Stephen. I'll stand with you.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, mate.
Yeah, we are Stephen.
We are Stephen.
Yeah.
All right. So that was the game. Let's have a wee look at social media then for a laugh and see what everyone's saying about Wilfried Nancy and to what extent we agree with it. This is G. That's the wee girl who works in the pub, Brian, where we had a pint in Belfast last time I was over.
Good.
See anyone defending him? You're pretending to yourself to try and be the bigger supportive person. He was a terrible appointment from the get-go. Never ever Celtic class. An absolute amateur. Granted, so are half the players, but get him to fuck. So, not mincing our words there. That's what happens when an Exeter City manager is allowed to choose a mediocre MLS coach to run our club. Brutal, says Cairn. This is an interesting point here, which we'll throw open to, well, can we describe some of us as older Celtic fans? Yes, we can. Older Celtic fans that experienced Macari, Brady, Barnes, Dr. Venglos and Tony Mowbray know how to spot an utter dud. Believe me, he needs sacked tonight. Well, let's pause and consider that one. Brian, you're totally in agreement.
The next game's Dundee United away. Okay, I can't see us winning that. Aberdeen home, Livy away. And then we're playing the Huns on the 3rd of January. I think potentially this team could go out of the Scottish Cup a la Queen's Park with the Huns last year. So we need to have... Sometimes things in life don't work for whatever reason. I remember leaving a really average job, going to another, what I thought was another average job, and a couple of days in, realising what the feck have I done here. But the problem is I had a mortgage to pay, and I had to do it and work my way through it and get myself into another job. These guys, the guy just needs to go, end off. I mean, the whole thing about whenever Celtic were after Brendan resigned and the collective and the throwing the tennis balls on the pitch and then going into the game 12 minutes late, that sort of was putting it in the media a wee bit. Now it's a full-blown shit show, and no matter how much banning of the Green Brigade or the boys or boycotting the club merchandise and whatever else, appointing a crap manager, somebody needs to take responsibility. And Tisdale, Nancy, needs to get the hell out of our club. Piss off, go away, don't come back. This is not a project. This is not you're here. If I was managing Celtic now, if said to me, right, Hughesy, go you in there and manage it, be straight away, right, lads, let's get this defence shored up. Maeda, fuck off. Go. You're gone. I don't want you playing here. I don't want you near I'd put him in reserves, running around his face, tripping him. Excuse my French. Anyone doesn't want to be there.
It's clear where Brian stands. I'm not quite sure if the other two are there just yet, but let's look at this post for a bit of balance. This is Timothy Leary saying, seen enough to suggest that Nancy is worth sticking with, at least until the end of the season. He came into a perfect storm of poor player recruitment, guys that don't want to be here, and poor fortune. For me, if Iheanacho doesn't get injured, we win the game. And we mentioned earlier that certainly that's where it looked like we lost it. Nick Harmon here in the comments, he's certainly not a lucky manager. Own goal and missed penalty on Thursday. goal down inside 2 minutes, and the Iheanacho injury today. He's walked into a shitstorm, basically. And then there's a bunch of people saying, like, I don't know what you're talking about. Frankety Frank saying, I've seen enough to suggest Nancy goes 4 without a win against Dundee United at Tannadice in 3 days' time, and 5 without a win against Aberdeen in 7 days' time. So, I want to come back to David and Stephen. Start with David. Are you Nancy out immediately, or are you thinking, look, it's only 3 games? You know, there's time for this to be turned around.
I would be happy for Nancy to go by the end of the show, to be honest. You know, I think that, you know, to say that he came into a shit show, you know, he came into a team that had, you know, won, you know, 6 of their last games domestically, a team that had won away in Europe, a team where everyone knew their position in the, you know, on the pitch. So he started the shit show, I would say. I would be happy if the board were to have the balls to say no. Let's go back to Martin O'Neill. I think the idea that we go for the ex-Bruges guy, I wouldn't really want to go for that as well. And also, there's been comments in the chat about people saying, "Oh, you know, we should have gone for Sean Maloney." If we'd gone for Sean Maloney, there would have been uproar. Seriously, you know, I think we're seeing how good Sean Maloney was now because of how shit that Nancy was. But if Nancy hadn't been here to show how bad he was and how, you know, much of a good job that Maloney was doing, you know, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So, I mean, I would be delighted if we got the, you know, the call for Martin O'Neill to come back for, you know, till the end of the season. I mean, being a Celtic fan, and you know, we've lost the opportunity for the treble, you know, at the first stage, and if we're not careful, we'll be struggling in the league before we get a chance to do anything in the transfer window. So, last week against Hearts, we were giving them some slack, but Roma, the first half in Roma was embarrassing, and yesterday was just it was diabolical. So no, for me, if he's left the building by the end of this show, I'd be quite happy.
Well, Mahesh here, you guys are crazy. The man's had 3 games. 3 games. Nowhere near enough time to make a fair assessment. We're going to go to Stephen here. Ange dropped 17 points in his first 10 games. I mean, 3 games, Stephen.
Well, look, I think all the talk about whether he's sacked or not, I think is a fairly moot point at the moment, because he's not going to be sacked. Let's be clear about that, because that would entail the board admitting that they've got it wrong and badly wrong, and self-reflection and accountability is not their strong point. So they're far more likely to double down on Nancy. I fully expect some sort of messaging to come from the board that they're still fully behind them this week, and I expect the shit show to rumble on. Now, the fact of the matter is, he should never have been appointed. You know, there's nothing at all in his resume to suggest that he had the necessary skill set to be the manager of Celtic. And let's not forget how we've ended up in this spot in the first place. You know, if you cast your mind back to the summer, we had Brendan Rodgers in charge, a very good manager, a manager with a background in the club, a manager with experience of winning trophies, and a manager who had showed that he could take us to a stage up in Europe. Now, what did we try to do with Brendan Rodgers? We decided to absolutely shaft him. We sold his best players from under him, refused to replace them, and started a whispering campaign against him in the media. Right, so that's how we ended up. And I think you'll remember, and I don't think I'm being a dick for saying this, some of us did say, you know, be careful what you wish for, because the guy who comes after Brendan Rodgers is going to be so much worse, and certainly a miles worse manager than Brendan Rodgers. And here we are. and this is the situation we're in. So if I could have anything, if you give me my one wish for a Celtic, from a Celtic fairy or something, I would ask for Brendan Rodgers back and give him the money he needs to build the team. Brendan Rodgers in a bag of cans, yeah, and give him the money he needs to build the team, and forget that this sort of shit has ever happened, right? But it's not going to happen. And the interesting thing is now, the talk about Martin O'Neill and whether we wanted him to stay on or not was basically based on the fact that he wanted the new manager in before the transfer window, so that he could have a time to assess the squad and know what he needs, so they could give him money to spend. But do they let him spend money now in the transfer window? I don't think they do, because there's a very good chance he's not going to see out the season. And if we keep on in our current trajectory, we haven't won in 3. We've lost the last 3 games. If we lose another 3 games, it might be, his position might become untenable. So I don't think we're going to spend money in the transfer window, and certainly not much of it. You might see some loans or stuff, but it's not going to be a lot. And it is, I know it's been a bit of a trope, but the January window is a difficult window to sign good players, because you're halfway, every other team's halfway through their season and doesn't want to lose their best players either. So I think we're fucked, to be honest with you, for this season. I don't think this ends well at all this season. I don't think we're going to win the league. I think we'll drop more points. I wouldn't be surprised if we drop more points at Tannadice, and maybe against Aberdeen next week, and God knows what will happen when the Huns come visiting. But we could be in a really bad state by the time the January window even opens. And I just don't think the board will trust them to spend any money at all. But at the end of the day, having said all that, I do feel a bit for Nancy. He's been absolutely screwed by the board. He's been thrown into a situation with no support system, nobody around about him. He was hung out to dry even at his opening press conference. He's not been given any support. We're at a club he's at a club now where we don't even have a full-time doctor employed there. So that's the state we're in, and that's how much these people that you can see on screen there care about the football operation. They do not give a shit. Nancy's just there to turn over players, and he's there cheap, and he'll accept whatever they dish up to him. So there is no happy ending here. And even if he does get sacked before the end of the show, who's next? Who's next? Is it Paul Tisdale that's picking the next manager again? Because if it is, we'll get more of the same. So I think the only if you're going to take a positive out of all this, I think it might be focusing where the blame is at the club, and focusing a lot more Celtic supporters on what needs to happen. And the campaign by the Celtic Collective and the Celtic Trust and others for the rest of the season is going to be so important. And if we can effect the necessary change in the way the club is run, then it might be worth, it might be worth, painful though it may be, it might be worth writing off this season, because that's what's required. Letting these guys appoint another manager is not the answer, and will only end in more of the same.
I mean, the Celtic job used to be a big job. Was up there with the Man U job, Liverpool. Who would touch us now? Who would come near us? We're such a risk for any up-and-coming manager, any existing manager. Why would you come to our club when it's complete disarray? Why would you do that when all you want to do is coach the team and put the team on the pitch and having to deal with all the crap that's going on? That is self-inflicted. If I don't know what to do. I think sticking with him is not going to work. I would rather get Maloney in on a game-to-game basis and fathering him. And the players need an out. They don't need an out. They'll take any excuse. Oh, it's a system. It says it's that. It's the other. But ultimately, they don't rate him. And when Cal McGregor and Tierney, the two senior pros, they just don't seem the body language. We communicate 80% of communication through your body, and you can tell a blind man, the galloping horse, can tell that they don't, or that they've chucked it. The cup final, 3-1, the cup final. When was the last time Celtic were beat by 2 goals in a cup final? Can't remember any.
Do we all think this is true, that the players don't believe in this manager at all? Is that apparent to everyone? David?
It's hard to consider otherwise, to be honest. I thought it was interesting. Normally, Sam McGregor comes out for these post-match interviews, and I think Wednesday night it was it Engels and Trusty.
Yeah.
These are the times when sort of McGregor would be, coming in and, sort of laying down the line and, KT, etc. But, looking at some of the, when Nancy was trying to explain what he wanted McGregor to do, and it wasn't obvious, again, going back to the body language, it wasn't clear that McGregor was actually, taking any of that on board. Yeah, it's going to be a tricky, few weeks, I think. Stephen,
go ahead.
Yeah, just to sort of pick up on something Brian said there. The last time, apparently, I heard, I can't verify this, but I've no reason to doubt it. I heard on another show earlier today that the last time we lost a cup final by more than 1 goal was in 1972, when we lost 4-1 to Partick Thistle in a very famous game. So that's the guts of 50 years ago, and that's that's the situation we're in. Now, there's many issues at the club at the moment, but the most glaring one is half the team just are not good enough to play for Celtic. You could take probably at least a third of the starting lineup, and they probably wouldn't get a game for St Mirren, and that's a really damning indictment of where Celtic are as a club, given the difference in turnovers. The difference in finances between the teams. Guys like Ralston, I think Liam Scales, I think Konecki, Kobe Donovan, guys like that would really struggle to get into any other team in the SPFL. And that's a horrific statement, but for me it's absolutely bang on. And until we address that, the minimum requirement for a Celtic player is you should walk into any other SPFL team and instantly be their best player. That's where we've been in recent years, and that's where we need to aspire to get back to. But at the moment, we're so far away from that, it's just not funny.
Yeah, it's just not funny, which makes me wonder whether or not I should play these little social media things to round out the show. Probably not.
Give us a song. Give us a song, Gav. Cheer us up.
I'm definitely not going to cheer you up with the song. I'll show you this. This is a lovely goal. I don't know if you saw this. Piotr Zielinski has won the Serie A goal of the month for this finish against Hellas Verona. And watch this. This comes from a corner. Watch the corner and then the strike. Look
lovely.
At that.
Absolute.
Gorgeous.
Humanesque.
I mean,
we were linked with him, weren't we? We were linked with him a couple of years ago. But Zielinski. I think so, yeah.
Jesus, what
that'd be that. If that had been a Celtic player on the end of that corner, that ended up in Rose Z.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Tell you what we'll do for Patrick Klimala now.
And then FC Haka fans set their stadium on fire after their team's relegation. That's how Finnish fans make their message known to the board. I'm not suggesting that would be a good idea. Obviously it wouldn't, but that's madness, isn't it?
Yeah, when you think the Green Brigade are bad.
Yeah. What was the thing about Nice? Wasn't there some uproar I read about the team OG Nice or whatever, the French team, and they fell. The fans literally. I'm sorry, I didn't get the full information on it, but they were up in arms, a la Haka in Finland.
Yeah, I think it said that they'll just get through an absolutely brutal spell. Nice, they're sitting. I noticed they're sitting bottom of the Europa League table, even below the Huns, which is quite something. And the fans are actually boycotting the games. And the last home game, I think it was a Europa League game during the week last week. There was about a couple of hundred people there. You know, it was
Brilliant.
absolutely no one in the stadium. It was completely deserted. And, you know, the sort of commentary around about it was, this is what Celtic are going to have to do at some point. It's going to come to the point where boycotting the games is the only option. And that's how you do it properly.
Well, I don't know how to end out the show. Just to give you my tuppence worth, I'm not saying that he needs to go right now, for sure. I'm more sort of towards Stephen's point about that being sort of moot. He's not going to go anytime soon. And where he says it's all going to go horribly wrong for the rest of the season, I'm going to err on the side of positivity and say we will look back at these 3 games and think it was a horror start, but, you know, eventually got it going. I don't think it's going to be a good season. Don't think it's going to end particularly well, but I'm hopeful that he will get some traction ultimately. And after the window, he'll get a few players in who can do a bit more. Some will come back from injury. I mean, there's got to be some signs of life in this season, right, David?
100%. Yeah. We've got to, hope that, we get people that's going to step up, people that are familiar with his method of playing, and hopefully the dross that we've currently got in the first team, we don't see them again in a Celtic shirt for quite a while. Yep.
But on a positive note, sorry, Gav, look what happened when Martin came in. It galvanised this, so it can be done if you make the change. Although Brendan resigned, but you just keep waiting and waiting until it eventually just breaks. The warning signs are there. If this was a car, it's gone. You don't wait until I need to drive to Cork here and then the fucking head gasket goes. The head gasket's long gone. You know, it's I don't know what we do, but when something needs to change, you can't keep doing what we're doing. Something needs to change.
And of course, we have Dundee United coming up, Stephen. So, what are you expecting from that game?
Well, just if I could quickly mention the last comment you put up there from Mahesh, where he was sort of making the excuse that Nancy came up against 3 shrewd managers, and one of them Stephen Robinson. I mean, fuck me gently. if that's an excuse, if we're talking Stephen Robinson, I mean, fair enough, Gasparini. And then he's talking about Derek McInnes and Stephen Robinson. I mean, God, we really are in the shit if that's the case. Tannadice. Tannadice.
Well,
God knows what's going to happen. Who knows what team he's going to pick? Who knows who's going to be playing where? Who knows what's going to happen? I think probably we lose the game because I just don't see where a win's coming from. But we live in hope that something will spark us into life, as Gav was saying, that something happens, and we get some sort of lift. There was spells under Ange where we weren't getting such good results, but you could see it, yeah. You could see what he was trying to do, and I'm just waiting on something like that happening, because at the moment it just looks like chaos ball. Nobody knows where they are or what they're meant to be doing. So we live in hope that spark and that sliding doors moment comes along at Tannadice, and we kick on from there. But I wouldn't be betting much money on it.
All right. Well, it's all quite depressing. If nobody else has anything to add, we can wrap it up there. Is anyone else itching to say something they haven't said yet, David or Brian?
I would just say Celtic.
Oh, that's my fault for saying David or Brian. David.
No, I just think we'll. I'm hopeful we'll win 3-1 on Wednesday against United.
And
Brian, don't know where that confidence is coming.
I think it's all about, Gav, you don't want me hosting the show, right? You don't want Stephen and David are 2 guys who are quite grounded. So I'm the fool of the show, and I know that, and I come out with something random. We don't need you to be the fool of the show. You're the man in control. But if I'm trying to, you know what I mean? Everyone has a part to play, and we know our role. I ain't the host. I ain't the technical guy. I come out with a lot of shite and speak from the heart. But the bottom line is, he needs to get players to play in the positions that they can play in. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be the next supermodel for Tommy Hilfiger or Armani because I'm about 17 stone and whatever else. Just play the people who, in the positions that they are, there. I mean, that's all I can say. And if he doesn't, I can see another defeat, and I can see an own goal. I might stick a bet on an own goal or something like that, because certainly missed penalty, own goal, there's certainly odds out there. But thank you, 420. There's a nice wee comment there.
Why do I get the impression it's what Brian said there probably sounds like a Wilfried Nancy team talk?
Yeah, that's it. Hello guys, you're all shite, but I will make you better. No, I tell you what, get out, man.
Mahesh is keeping the faith. Mahesh is keeping the faith anyway, and probably more others whose voices aren't being heard. So we'll have to see how it goes. All right, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you very much, everyone in the comments, as always, for the live chat. It's very interesting to canvass opinion, and it's certainly all turning one way at this stage. I hope it turns back. The tactical review boys run in an hour and a half or something, or 2.5 hours. An hour and a half. And they'll be obviously going through the game in minute detail. So if you really want to drill into it.
Only lasts about 10 minutes then, the tactical review. We are shite. End off. Let's watch some tapes on Frank McAvenny and Roy Aiken, please.
Brian, you're gorgeous. We'll leave it at that. That's comment of the night. All right, lads. Until next time, take it easy. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.
Hail, hail, boys.
Hail, hail.